A fantastic item of clothing for your wardrobe. Oh, what a fantastic! This is a classic evening, by the way. You can just feel it in your water that some evenings are classics, and this is one of them, I'm telling you. Our next presenter is Alison Pilling. Is Alison ready? I have no idea what she's going to talk about, so I'm going to be as fascinated as you are. Is this your first time, Alison?
It is, yeah.
It's her first time as well. So you know what we do at BettaKultcha when it's somebody's first time? We give them lots of support, lots of love, lots of enthusiasm. So let's have a rapturous welcome for Alison Pilling!
Yeah, my name's Ali. I'm afraid I haven't got any instruments to play, and thank you very much for the love, because as you can see, I've come to talk to you about this for a personal tragedy of mine. But luckily, I did manage to move on from that, so I'm going to talk to you about what I did next, really, because I did manage to get my life back in balance with the help of two things. On the one hand, my lovely children, who luckily weren't as nauseating and cheerful as these two, otherwise I would have struggled. And on the other hand, loads and loads of alcohol. And for a while that worked really well for me, but something happened that made me realise I had to change. Because you know, like you check sell-by date on eggs and stuff, and it was when I opened a drawer and found a packet of condoms, and I'd missed the use-by date by a long while without ever taking the cellophane off, that I thought, listen girl, it's time you got back out there, really. But luckily, my friend Peg, who you might have seen at previous BettaKultcha, was single as well at the time. So we thought, right, let's go speed dating, let's get back out there. Got all glammed up and excited and signed up for the speed dating. And if you're lucky, you might see us, there we are. To be honest, a bit of artistic licence, we didn't actually dress like this, because to be honest, nothing says bunny boiler quite like those outfits. So we didn't quite dress like that, but we were very excited. Went into the bar, and I latched on to the first bloke I could come across and asked him what he did for a living, and he said he was a designer. Very exciting. So I said, what kind of design do you do? And he said rather weirdly, he said, I work with cobalt and chrome. Now I was thinking, cobalt and chrome, because he said I could have sworn they had a single in the mid-70s. So I studied for a while, and then I realised it actually meant the chemical elements. So I had to kind of metaphorically drag my small talk dictionary in the back of my mind and flick through to the letter C to find something to talk about. The only thing I could think of was, I think my bath taps are plated with chrome, and even I know that's no basis for a relationship. So then I kind of chatted to a few more people, and then we moved on to the speed dating proper. And if you've never been before, it really does look like a bunch of adults who just kind of gave crash the school canteen and started chatting furiously to each other. And then somebody blows the whistle, and then you go and crazily chat to somebody else. And if you're lucky, there's a bar at the back. And to be honest, that's where all my problems started, because after a while, all the blokes started to look exactly the same to me. And I have to be honest, another bit of artistic licence, I'm fairly sure none of them was actually carrying a sword, like in this picture. But I say, they did look pretty similar to me. So by the end of the evening, I was really confused, because I felt like I'd had like one really long conversation about 20 topics with one bloke who irritated and kept changing his appearance. And I didn't know which appearance belonged with which bloke, and I pretty much wrote the evening off. But the second time I went speed dating, loads better. I got chatting to this guy, we got on really well, and it was really nice. Checked online the next day, and sure enough, an email, he'd proposed marriage. Because he'd taken one look at me and completely fallen in love with my passport. And actually, by checking online, I found out that he'd actually fallen in love with 7 other passports that evening as well. So, in fact, that evening didn't go too well either. But by the third time I went speed dating, I was really getting the hang of this. I knew there were two things were going to happen. I was going to meet loads of guys who worked in IT. I was going to meet loads of guys who really enjoyed mountain biking. And none of them understood why they never met any women. And I was like, I'll turn this to my advantage. So I used to go and check the next day, drop an email to show I knew how to use a computer, and attach a little cycle route I'd done. And I was really popular for a while, loads of dates. But to be honest, it never really led to anything, nothing really lasting. And I wondered if there was something wrong with the format. Instead of getting these IT guys to talk about themselves for 2 minutes, why don't we get them to talk about something that interested them for 5 minutes, using 20 slides, lending itself to their IT skills? I just need a name. So I asked my friends for a name. I'm sorry about that. I mean, I think you realise, if this is the kind of thing my friends say to me, is there any wonder I can't hold down a stable relationship? And in fact, next, I'm sorry about the next one I'm going to have to tell you really, but you know, this was a genuine suggestion. But then I thought about what I said earlier, and I thought, listen, if this idea goes regional, this one might work particularly well in the northeast, I think. So we might have to hang on to that one. Anyway, chance for a bit of audience participation. This is, after all, a multimedia event. You're all tweeting out there. Let's see if between us we can come up with a great name for this BettaKultcha version of speed dating. But in case you think I bottled it, I have got one last suggestion for you that I think might work. This next slide, that's my suggestion, because I was thinking, you know, it's like the most iconic clinch in history. If you end up like this, you know a date's going pretty well. And I'd have to conclude that Burt Lancaster must have a really fabulous PowerPoint.
Alison! Thank you, Alison.